What's going on, everyone? Coming up on today's show, I want to run through the top 3 storylines for the Atlanta Falcons going into mandatory minicamp. This will be the last time we see the team until training camp, so it's a good idea to get a quick snapshot as to what the 2024 Falcons will look like. So the first storyline I'm excited to watch for is Kirk Cousins and his wide receivers. Obviously, all eyeballs are going to be on number 18, right, for a handful of reasons. One, everyone is hoping he is the solution to the Falcons' quarterback problem for the last 3 or so seasons. And then also, he's a $180 million man. So, yeah, people are going to be excited to see what he can bring to the table. And on top of that, how does he look coming off a torn Achilles? That's going to be a big question mark. But I think we're all excited to see the chemistry that he can develop with his wide receivers. Kirk Cousins, by all accounts, has looked really good at OTAs so far, or at OTAs, now going into mandatory minicamp. So I'm excited to see that strong play continue, but the velocity, the accuracy, it has been present at OTAs, and he doesn't look like a quarterback coming off a ruptured Achilles whatsoever in my eyes. But the big question is, can he quickly gel with his new wide receivers? I don't think there'll be an issue with Drake London. Both of these guys are some of the best players at their positions. And then Darnell Mooney and Rondale Moore, these are some speedsters, right? I think Rondale Moore is going to be used a little bit more as a gadget-type wide receiver. But Darnell Mooney, I mean, he had a 1,000-yard season with the Bears back in 2021. I can kind of already close my eyes and picture the play fake to Bijan and the deep ball to Darnell Mooney. But wide receivers, they need to win at mandatory minicamp. If you don't see positive things about the wide receivers at minicamp, red flags should be going off. There's no contact. There's no pads. The corners can't jam the receivers. It's flag football, and it's shifted to the offense. They have to win. They are designed to win. It is curated for the offense. Defense can't sack the quarterback. Quarterbacks can't contact the receivers. So if we don't see a great show from the wideouts at minicamp, I think there should be some more conversations had about Atlanta going out and adding another wide receiver as they gear up for an extremely pass-happy Zac Robinson offense that uses 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, the most in the NFL last season. Now let me ask you guys this question. Will Drake London finally reach 1,000 yards? I think he will, and I don't think it'll be all that close. I don't think he'll be one of those 1,015-yard guys. I think he's going to crush it. I think he's going to go over 1,200 yards. But give me your thoughts down below in the comment section. Second storyline I'm excited to watch for is Bijan Robinson's role. There was that quote that came out from OTAs about the Falcons wanting to use Bijan Robinson as in a Christian McCaffrey type setting, and everyone started foaming at the mouth about what Bijan can look like in this Falcons offense. Here's what new offensive coordinator Zac Robinson said about Bijan. Yeah, I think Bijan is such a talented player. He's going to play running back first and foremost, and then any way we can find creative ways to get him the ball like the Niners do with Christian McCaffrey is exactly right. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to see an apples-to-apples comparison for Bijan and Christian McCaffrey in 2024, but I do think we'll see a little bit more creativity put into what Bijan's role is in the offense. He comes off a 976-yard rushing season, 487 receiving yards. That was 5th in the NFL amongst running backs. Christian McCaffrey, by the way, finished like 2nd or 3rd. So McCaffrey only had about 570 receiving yards last year. So Bijan, if you're looking to make the comparison as a receiving threat, just like Christian McCaffrey is, he's already very close to CMC in that department. But as a new coaching staff, you got to think, if you were to inherit a running back that was picked in the top 10 of the NFL draft, why wouldn't you just run him into the ground? And I know that's not a nice thing to say about Bijan, but just think about it for a moment. If things with Bijan don't go superb, you're not on the hook for it. Like Raheem Morris isn't. He didn't make that selection. So you were gifted a running back in a spot where people are very critical about using a draft pick on a position like that. why not take advantage of not being responsible for the pick, but reaping the rewards of having a really good running back, and yet you weren't the one that paid for it, right? It's like going to a steakhouse, ordering a steak that is way overpriced and it's not nearly as good as the $28 Texas Roadhouse steak. But if you're not the one that's on the bill, why not get that steak? I mean, that's not my best Colin Cowherd analogy, but they should absolutely use the shit out of Bijan Robinson this year. We're going to look at the next storyline in just a second, but first, if you want to get started with our awesome sponsor today, Prize Picks, listen up, because it's daily fantasy made easy, where all you have to do is pick 2 to 6 players and then choose more or less on their projected stats. Now, what does that mean in English? Basically, you can turn $10 into $1,000 if you go, say, 6 for 6 on your stat projections. Now, if you want to ride along with me, I've already locked in some season-long stat projections on some of the rookies taken. I like the Moore on Caleb Williams at 3,400 passing yards. I don't understand the J.J. McCarthy one whatsoever. Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback in Minnesota. And I think J.J. as a backup is going to throw for 3,100 yards. Take the less on that. And then the Malik Neighbors highlights coming out of Giants OTAs and minicamp have been incredible. So, yeah, I'll take the more on 875 yards for Neighbors. Download Prize Picks today and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. But get started with Prize Picks today. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports platform in all of North America. I saw some tribe in the Amazon rainforest just got internet. Wait until they discover Prize Picks. Then it's game over for them. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Third storyline I'm watching for training camp is the secondary depth chart. I kind of tossed and turned with this last one, and you can make an argument for just pass rush in general, but at minicamp with no pads on, just shells essentially, it's hard to really get a good idea as, who the pass rush is and how they're looking when they can't even tackle the quarterback. But the secondary, well, sure, it's also limited at OTAs. I don't think it's as limited as the guys in the trenches where they kind of just bump titties for a second or two, and then they all stand up and watch the quarterback throw the football. Whereas the secondary, well, yeah, it's not a fair fight. They do get an opportunity to make some plays on the football, pick off passes, break up passes, and I'm excited to see who goes where with the first and second team defense. The leader in the clubhouse for CB2 opposite of A.J. Terrell is second-year man Clark Phillips, fourth-round pick last year out of Utah. So if you want to sound smart in front of your friends, Clark Phillips. That's going to be a big buzzword throughout all of minicamp and into training camp as well. Another position that's kind of up for grabs right now is starting safety next to Jesse Bates. What's wrong with me? DeMarco Helms. So it was Richie Grant's job. Then he lost it for the last quarter of the 2023 season. The 7th-round pick out of Alabama, who we raved about last preseason. Remember, producer Rowley, myself, we were all over the DeMarco Helms hype train. Fast forward to today, and the 7th-round man from Tuscaloosa is shaping up to be a starting safety in the NFL. So I'm excited to see how those battles unfold between Helms and Richie Grant, and then Clark Phillips and the rest of the corners like Mike Hughes, Antonio Hamilton, Kevin King. They didn't draft a corner, so the competition is not as fierce as I thought it would be. But for me, I'm still concerned about depth at the cornerback position, especially if you just kind of stick with me for a second, think about the absolute worst possible outcome, which is if A.J. Terrell were to get injured, this is your top 4 cornerbacks. And I don't think that's a unit that will suffice when the Falcons' pass rush is bottom 10 in the NFL. Right? Opposing quarterbacks are going to be standing in the pocket for a lot of time unless the Atlanta Falcons kind of pull a rabbit out of the hat and get insane production from Arnold Ebiketie, Lorenzo Carter, and their 3 rookie defensive linemen and Braylon Trice. These DBs are going to have to hold up for a long time in coverage. So Kevin King is a question mark in terms of what he looks like after not playing football since 2021. He had a really good start to his career in Green Bay, but ultimately injuries just took the fun out of it for him, and I don't blame him. So he took a year away from football to kind of get healthy in 2022. Then he was ready to come back in 2023. He got injured while training, so he missed the last 2 years. And fast forward to 2024, here we are, waiting to see what Kevin King looks like. So what position do you guys think Atlanta should add to? After minicamp, you'll probably see a slight wave of free agent signings because teams have now had, 9, 10 OTA sessions, 3 minicamp practices to go, all right, we wanted to see how this first, second, or third year player looked like. Ultimately, it didn't meet our expectations, and let's just go get a proven veteran who we know can do the job. But let me know what position you think the Falcons should add to. That will do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Always appreciate those of you that hang out with us all the way to the end of the video. If you're still watching, drop an emoji in the comment section. I always love to see the end of the video crew. I'm a sucker for it, so you know who you are. We will see you all on another edition of Falcons Today by Chat Sports.